Jerry Lorenzo is so diabolical. His Fear God brand, wow, diabolical. And Jerry, he's a genius. You want to know why? Let's discuss. Next, here on Making the Brand. What's up, everybody? Rob Norman here from Planet Brooklyn Academy, and this is Making the Brand, the series where I give you a little insider knowledge on how to start a clothing line, and if you already have one, how to make it better. As always, please hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with everything I drop when it drops. And if you've been following me for the last couple of videos, you know we are in the middle of our 100K gain challenge. We are trying to get this channel up to 100,000 subscribers. I know we're a little ways off, but hey, it always helps to, think big. And I want to get us to that goal. And I think we can do it within a year. But if you can help me, help you guys, let's try to get it there. My goal is that once we're able to hit 100,000, I won't have to charge small brands out there and, independent designers who need a little help with their brand. I don't have to charge consultation fees. I want to be able to help you guys by just, setting up times to talk with you and spend a little half an hour, 45 minutes, helping you guys with that. But we all got to pay bills. So if I can get this channel up to 100K followers, we'll be generating enough money that I can spend the time twice a week just talking to you, the viewers who are trying to start your companies and your brands. And I can help you, for free. And again, it's not a gimmick where, some of these other content creators, give you a little something for free, but then try to charge you for doing the next level of something. That's not me. I just want to help people. It makes me happy making others happy. So if I can help you with your brand, that's what I want to do. But first, help me get this channel up to 100,000 followers. So let's do it. I think we can do it. I figure we can do it in a year. So tell a friend to tell a friend, and let's make it happen. Now, on to bigger and better things. Why is Jerry so polarizing, and why is it that the Fear God brand, why do I feel that it's diabolical? Well, when you think of the word diabolical, you always think evil, or you think like in the comic books, like, oh, he's crafty. And Jerry really is, because Jerry did something with Fear God that most of you probably did not even realize he did. And it's amazing. And this is why I said he's also a genius. Now, if I was to ask you, what do you see Fear God as? Most of you would probably say you see Fear God as an upscale streetwear brand. And I wouldn't say you were wrong, because most of you are basing that off of, where you saw the brand begin and where it's been going and who shops with the brand. Now, Fear God started back in 2013. And this is like the exact same time when I opened my first store. And I was watching what Jerry was doing. And Jerry, first line that he put out, his footwear was amazing. It was just so amazing. But his price points were so high. And it was at a point where streetwear brands weren't selling anything at that price point. And you're talking about a time in 2013, you had, Diamond Supply Company was at its high. You had Dolphin, and you had Crooks and Castles. All of them were really doing really well at that point around 2013. But as I told you in past videos, this is also the time when trends happen. And you have your peaks and your valleys. And streetwear was at its peak, and it was about to go through a cycle change. And this is where the birth of these upscale streetwear brands are about to come into. And Jerry is one of those forefathers of that transition, along with Kith at that time. But I watched what Jerry was doing. And Jerry was coming into the streetwear market, again, with a little higher priced product. Now, when you think about why we consider him streetwear and why you consider him upscale streetwear, because you're also looking at his stuff that mostly everybody buys, essentials. Essentials is huge. But do you really know when essentials started? Most of you are probably also thinking that essentials started probably somewhere around 2020 during the pandemic, because that was the time everybody was staying at home and people were wearing, casual clothing. And suddenly you saw Fear God Essentials, and everybody was buying it because it was basics. But here's the thing. Basics for Fear God, their essentials, did not start in 2020. It actually started in 2015. So when Jerry started his line, the thing was that, as I just said, it was expensive. People wasn't able to afford it. But someone did see the vision of what Jerry could potentially become and saw that market and saw the future. And that company was PacSun. And PacSun, what they did was they approached Jerry and wanted to do a collaboration with him. So he launched Essentials with PacSun, and it was actually Fair God times PacSun, and it was Essentials. So they were selling it out of the PacSun stores, but again, as a collaboration. When I first saw it, I didn't even understand what Jerry was doing because I personally thought it was a bad move. I looked at it saying like, all right, here's Jerry doing this high-end stuff, but suddenly he's partnering with PacSun, and that's going to lower the value of his brand because it's going to be such a huge, separation between price points, and people are going to get confused. Again, I didn't see what Jerry was doing. I wasn't seeing the bigger picture of where he was going with this. And as he was doing this with PacSun, more or less it seemed like it was his beta testing the market because he's selling it to everyone. And again, you all may have thought that Essential started in 2020 because most of you didn't shop in PacSun, so you didn't know his stuff was in there. But while he's doing this is during the time he also had his footwear deal with Nike. And what Jerry was basically doing was Jerry was building all these little pieces and assembling them in different locations. And the full picture wasn't coming together yet. So Jerry had his Essentials line at PacSun. Then he was doing his Nike thing with the footwear. What happens is that he also during that time was still doing Fair God, but people weren't really watching that. Now, fast forward, he leaves Nike and goes to Adidas. Now, he left that because he was able to have more control to do what he wanted with the line that Nike wouldn't give him. And during that time, remember, through his transition from Nike to Adidas, there was like a 2-year, maybe 3-year gap where nothing came out, and people was wondering what was going on with that. This is where I think Jerry realized that all the pieces he had, he was finally putting them together to make a pyramid. Now, if you watch my previous videos, I talk about how luxury brands are built. And all luxury brands are built as a pyramid. Jerry was building something right in front of our faces, right under our noses, that none of us realized. Everybody up close looked at his brand and looked at Essentials and loved the footwear, what he was doing with Adidas, and we loved all that. If you all take a step back and look at what Jerry's doing, Jerry has built a luxury brand. What is the last luxury brand that you've known that's been built? None of these luxury brands were ever created in our lifetimes. These brands have been around for decades. Okay, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Prada, they've all been around for decades. But we've just known them, we've grown up and just known them to be luxury brands. But what brand has come up in our time that has been the newborn luxury brand? Don't say Balenciaga, because Balenciaga actually has been around for decades. It actually was shelved for a minute, and then it was reintroduced into the market in the mid 90s. It was reintroduced into the market, but it had been around. It's around as long as Prada and the rest of them. So we've never seen a luxury brand being built. And Jerry did this right in front of our faces, and no one realized it. So when you say, yeah, I consider him an upscale streetwear brand, no, he's actually a luxury brand. So again, luxury brands are made as pyramids. So you have an upper tier that is expensive and sold to people who afford that upper tier because it's very expensive. And then you have a middle tier, and then you have a lower tier. And the lower tier is where the more affordable stuff is. The middle tier is the people that can be a step above the lower tier but can't quite reach the top tier. So each tier feels a little bit closer to that higher level. Jerry did that. Jerry did them in 3 separate pieces and then brought them all together, and it was the Adidas part that was the final key for him because he had already Fear God at the top of the pyramid, and then he had his lower tier with Essentials because when he launched it under Fear God on his site, that's when everybody figured it was just launching, and again, it had already been in PacSun, but now he put it under the umbrella of Fear God. So now he had his top tier and bottom tier, but he was missing his middle tier, and the middle tier was the Adidas part, and he was just making everything right, that all the tiers connected perfectly, that when he dropped it, and now when you look at it, you'll see a pyramid. Go look on the site. You look on the site, you'll see it's Fair God, then it's Athletics, and then it's Essentials. And if you look at the price point, they all escalate from Essentials going like, I think the lowest thing on Essentials is $50. And then it goes up to somewhere around $200, $250. And then after that, you go into Athletics, where it goes from like $250, $300 up to about $5. And then when you get into Fair God, you're going into like $700 and up. So you see the scale of the tiers. That's how luxury brands are built, on a pyramid scale. Jerry just created a luxury brand that will go nowhere. When I say nowhere, I mean it's never going to leave. It will always be here now. That is the genius of what he created. He created a luxury line right in front of our eyes, and now it will be here forever. He's one of the few to be able to create that. Again, think about all those brands that have come out before. As I mentioned, Crooks and Castles, the Hundreds. All these brands are like brands that were big at one time and now became brands of the past. You see them at discounted places, or, most people don't wear them anymore. They moved on to other brands. But Fear God will be around forever now. It is now at the top with those other brands, with your Louis Vuittons and all those other type of brands. That is where Fear God is now. If you looked at his last fashion show, it was on the level of that of a Gucci. So Jerry created something amazing, and again, it's brilliant what he did. And this is what I try to tell you guys in my other videos when I say, you want to create a clothing line, just don't have this idea of, I want to create a t-shirt line, and then you're just going to make a t-shirt line. Think about the end game. Think about where you're trying to go with this. Think about, what are you really trying to build? Are you trying to build a legacy like Fear God, that you have a brand that will be around forever? Or are you just trying to be a brand that's just going to be around for the season, and then, once the tides change in the fashion trends, you're gone and that's it, and then you move on to something else? What is it that you really want to do? This is a perfect example of a brand well thought out, that's done in your face, that no one really thought about what he was doing. Everybody was so focused on all these pieces, but not looking at the whole pie. Even myself, like I said, I was looking at what he was doing with PacSun, going like, this doesn't make sense, to finally seeing like, okay, here's Adidas, and now I'm looking at all the puzzle pieces come together and seeing the full picture and going, wow, this is genius. That's what you want to do. You want to make something that lasts. So Jerry is an amazing designer, processor of, just ideas, and just created a wonderful brand. And hats off to Jerry for that. Amazing. And I've always supported him and rocked with him, because I just love his products and everything he does. And again, it's a marvel. It's a marvel of what he created. So look at this as an example of how you should be structuring your brands, trying to create something that has longevity and really can, stand the test of time. You don't want to be here for 10 years and then out the door. You want to be like, like Fear God, like Kith, like ALD. These brands are going to be around. They have solidified themselves in the market that they are going to be around pretty much for the end of time. We're going to watch a lot of other brands come and go, and these brands will still be here. So make yourself a brand that stays here. All right. So that's it for this episode. I hope that was some insight into understanding how to build the best brand possible and how to do it. As always, any comments, any thoughts you have, leave them below. I will get back to them. And if you haven't already picked it up, go pick up my book, Making the Brand. Talks about how to build a proper brand and all the little logistic things that you need to think about and consider as you're building it. So the link is down below. You can get that to purchase the book. And until the next time, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.